What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new Liverpool news video where we will talk about the aftermath of the Liverpool-Everton Merseyside Derby where Liverpool won 2-0 and we are right on the tails of Manchester City. And let me know in the comments below, how many trophies do you think Liverpool will win this season? And also, what do you think about many pundits in the English media saying that Everton should have had a penalty against Liverpool? Jamie Carragher, in fact, called the Gordon Matip incident a stonewall penalty for Everton, which I disagree with that and I will explain why. But first I want to share some of the pundits' viewpoints on this and we can argue back and forth. I will give my opinion, the pundits will give theirs. So former Everton striker, of course, Kevin Campbell said that it was a penalty. He said it's a push in the back on Gordon, he's in the box, it's a push in the back, he's nowhere near the ball and Matip pushes him. You see that if that was at the other end, I'm sure the stadium would have gone crazy. That's the one break that Everton needed. I thought the referee bottled it a little bit, if I'm honest with you. And I think Gordon and Matip, they lock arms with each other. Gordon is slightly ahead of Matip because of his sheer pace. And by the way, let me tell you, first of all, that in my opinion Gordon is a terrific player, one of the best players of Everton, and he was a constant threat to Liverpool's defense. But the way he countered the referee, the way he dived in the first half when Naby Keita hardly touches him, and he's a good yard away from Naby Keita in the first half when he decides to just dive. I think that was the main reason why Everton didn't get a penalty in the second half. Of course, the referee should look at each incident in isolation, but referees are human beings, they are not robots. And in the back of their minds, the referees probably think of the reputation of the player. And Gordon is more and more getting a reputation of a diver. I mean, in the Premier League, 6 yellow cards have been given out for simulation, for diving this season, and 3 of those yellow cards went to Everton players. So they have a reputation, and Gordon in particular have a reputation of diving all over the place. And Carragher warned of this exactly, and he said he's got to be careful, Anthony Gordon. He's a great lad, a great player, one of the best players on the pitch against Liverpool. He caused Liverpool massive problems, but he's just got to be careful of that. It's not the first time the dive in the first half, and it definitely will be in referees' heads. And I think that was the main reason why the referee didn't give a penalty for Everton, because it's a 50-50 decision. It's a classic case of I've seen them given, some referees give that as a penalty because Gordon is running at full pelt and yes, Matip pushes him, but also Gordon was playing for the penalty. So as soon as he feels that push, he collapses like a pack of cards, and I think it would have been a very soft penalty for Everton to give. And it's very hypocritical of Everton to complain about, you know, Frank Lampard in particular, he complained about Everton not getting penalties like that at Anfield, when in fact last season when Everton won 2-0, they got the softest penalty when Trent Alexander-Arnold is sitting on the floor and Dominic Calvert-Lewin kicks him in the back of the head. He collapses, falls over Trent Alexander-Arnold, and Trent Alexander-Arnold didn't even see him because he has his back to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. So he's just sitting on the floor, he can't disappear. Dominic Calvert-Lewin falls over him and the referee gives a penalty for that. Also, in Jurgen Klopp's time, for the last 5 years at Anfield, Liverpool have been given a big fat 0 amount of penalties against Everton, while Everton got 2 penalties against Liverpool. So how can the Everton manager Frank Lampard say Everton are never getting penalties at Anfield against Liverpool, when in fact they got 2 in the past 5 years and Liverpool got 0 penalties for them awarded against Everton? And that's why I think Frank Lampard's comments are a little bit like ludicrous and ridiculous and hypocritical. And I don't agree with Jamie Carragher that it's a stonewall penalty. I think it was a 50-50, and some referees give that as a penalty, some referees don't. And I think overall Liverpool more than deserved to win this game. I mean, I read the statistic that Thiago alone had more passes than the whole Everton team combined, which is an absolute mind-blowing statistic. And also Liverpool had 83% possession, which is close to a new Premier League record. It's definitely a Premier League record for Liverpool themselves. I think we didn't have more possession against any other team. And Graham Souness said this about Anthony Gordon. In the first half, Gordon gets booked for diving. He's got to get out of that, because right away the referee's then looking for it. He might have got it had he not dived in the first half. That's exactly what I said, by the way. He has planted a seed in the referee's head, and if if we are players out there, then we are in the referee's ear calling him a diver, so you are planting the seeds in the referee's head too. And that's the problem. If Gordon keeps diving, then the referees won't give him even penalties that probably he deserves to get. So in moving forward, he needs to learn from that. And also, why on earth would you post the incident on your own Twitter account after the game if not to just whine and complain about not getting the decision? You should have thought twice about diving in the first half. From the slightest of contacts, you can't just go over and dive all the time, because the referees are smarter than that to give every single contact as a penalty, because then the football would be just all about penalties in the end, because football is a contact sport. So you can't just dive every time you feel a touch in the box. It would be ridiculous. And we love the physical battle. We love the shoulder-to-shoulder battles in the Premier League. We don't want players to go over every single time that they feel a touch in the box. And also Frank Lampard dared to say, if that is Mo Salah at the other end, he gets the penalty. When in fact in this very game yesterday, Salah was kicked in the foot. He goes over and the referee doesn't give a penalty to Liverpool. Last season's game, Salah was through on goal. An Everton player slides in two-footed, takes out Salah after his shot, the referee gives nothing, VAR gives nothing. So no, Salah doesn't get a penalty when he is kicked in this very game, the Merseyside Derby. So what on earth is Frank Lampard talking about? I just don't understand how these managers like Frank Lampard have like a memory of a goldfish, because you can't say Everton don't get penalties at Anfield when in fact last season they got a very, very soft penalty. And also you can't say that Salah would get that penalty, because Salah doesn't get penalties at Anfield many times. He has been kicked so many times before, when and after that the referee doesn't give anything, VAR doesn't give anything. So Frank Lampard really needs to educate himself on all these incidents. And Frank Lampard also said, maybe I've played for clubs sometimes at the top end of the league, and with the crowd behind them you get more than you don't. There is a truth to that. That's the big clubs probably get more of the decisions, especially at home with the crowd behind them, because the crowd can influence the referee with their shouting and everything. But I don't think, I think it evens themselves out during the season more often than not. The one thing that I agree with is Graham Souness said that Mane was lucky because he has pushed Alan in the face and he tried to poke Mason Holgate's eye as well. So it's not a push on Holgate, he's got his finger out. There's more intent than just a push. And Mane got a yellow card for getting into Alan's face, which is more than, I think it's a very accurate decision. I don't think it was a red card, but if the referee sees both incidents, which happened back to back in like half a minute after there was a melee, you know, when Fabinho got, you know, tackled twice by Doucouré quite cynically, when Richarlison was rolling on the floor like the brilliant actor that he is. Every time somebody touches his leg, he falls over like a little baby and just tries to con the referee into giving yellow cards to Liverpool, and that again backfired for Everton, which was absolutely brilliant. But yeah, Mane, of course, he's a very emotional player, he's a very intense player. We love that about him, that he has so much intensity, but sometimes that can boil over, and Mane has to be very careful in these situations not to get riled up by the opposition, because the opposition more and more will target Mane and try to get under his skin and he had a yellow card after that incident. And Jurgen Klopp many times has taken off Sadio Mane when he was on a yellow card, because the opposition targeted him, trying to get him to do something, to get sent off. And if the referee sees both incidents of Mane poking Mason Holgate in the eye and also pushing Alan's face, you can't really do that back to back in a Premier League game. You risk getting sent off. I don't think he should have been sent off, because it wasn't enough. He didn't hit anybody. He didn't really like headbutt anybody. If both incidents happen in isolation, you could have argued that both incidents maybe deserved the yellow card, but because they happened back to back in like a 30-second period, and also because giving 2 yellow cards for these back to back so quickly and sending him off would have been very harsh. But Mane just needs to be careful and needs to be more calm and cool-headed, not this hot-headed player that sometimes he is. So that's the one thing that I see. Maybe I agree with Graham Souness that Mane is lucky to stay on the pitch. And I think about the Gordon incident, just to circle it back, if the referee gives that as a penalty, when Matip pushes Gordon and he falls over, then VAR wouldn't have overturned that either. So it's an on-field decision, and Dermot Gallagher, former Premier League referee, said the referee has to make this decision. There is an arm on the shoulder, there is no doubt about that, and he goes down, Gordon, and they get tangled up with Matip. The referee is really clever because he doesn't make an instant decision. If you look at him, he knows it's a big decision, and he almost runs it through, gives himself time, and makes his decision. On that basis, it has to be his call. There is no point throwing to VAR, because you can't say the referee has made a clear and obvious error, because he has thought it through so much. I would have gone with my gut reaction. I thought it was a penalty first, but when I saw it again, I wasn't convinced. It was a little bit too theatrical, the way Gordon went down. He went down too easily for me. So if I had gone to the screen, I would have stuck with no penalty. The referees have a threshold of, is there enough contact to give a penalty? They didn't think it covered the threshold. It has to be Stuart Atwell's call, not anyone else's. And yeah, I agree that Gordon goes down too easily. He plays for the penalty. He runs, he feels a touch on his shoulder, and he goes down instantly. And of course, the Premier League recently changed the rules that contact alone is not enough for a penalty. There has to be enough contact and enough force in the contact for the player to go down. And yeah, there is an argument that Gordon wasn't really planning to shoot. He wasn't playing to step across Matip so he can shoot. He was playing to step across Matip. So there was to be a collision. And as soon as he felt contact, he went down looking for a penalty. And yeah, that's the problem. If Gordon wasn't such a cheat, wasn't such a diver, he might have had a shot there, or if he was more honest, he might have had more of a chance to get a penalty. That's my opinion. And other pundits are saying that Gordon simply got out-muscled, and Gordon should have tried to stay on his feet and score. But no doubt, Gordon probably was told by his manager Frank Lampard, any touch in and around the box, go down like many experienced players do, and maybe get a penalty or get a free kick. And what I find pretty pathetic is that Everton even sent a complaint to the refereeing association, trying to get some kind of reaction out of them for not getting a penalty like this. But what about Richarlison, who was on the ground again simulating, and Henderson, who goes over to him to try to ham him up, and he kicks Henderson in the leg pretty blatantly. It should have been a red card, yet the referee doesn't give anything for that either. So that is pretty embarrassing as well for Everton. So how do you see this Gordon incident? Stephen Warnock, another pundit, former Liverpool player, also said, if I was a defender, I'm worried. My initial reaction straight away was, that's a penalty. Then the more I watch it, I can see what Dermot Gallagher is saying, but I feel like there is a shove in the back from Matip, which is enough to send Gordon down at the speed he's moving at. It falls into that bracket of I'm surprised it's not given, but I wouldn't have been surprised if it had been. But looking at it, time and time again, I feel like it should have been a penalty. So as I said, many pundits feel it's a penalty, many pundits feel it's not a penalty. I think it's a 50-50 decision. The referee doesn't give it, so VAR sticks to that decision, and I think that's fair. So yeah, Liverpool got away with one. It's a little bit lucky. Some referees give that penalty, but the way Gordon dived all over the pitch, and not just in this game, but in many previous games as well. Against Newcastle, he was diving and fouling people, and even in the home game, the Everton-Liverpool game where Liverpool won 4-1, even then Gordon was diving all over the pitch. So let me know, do you think it was a fair decision or not? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Have a nice day, see you later.